Have you ever felt like you are at a crossroads in life, searching for answers that seem to escape your reach? Sometimes it's easy to feel lost in the storms that life throws at us. But what if I told you that there is a prayer capable of dispelling the dark clouds and bringing the light of hope to illuminate your path? This miraculous prayer is not just a sequence of words, but a bridge between you and the divine, an opportunity to strengthen your faith in God and transform your reality. It's like a balm for the soul capable of healing invisible wounds and renewing strength to face the challenges that arise. Reflecting on obedience leads us to consider the connection between obeying and having faith. It is a theme that highlights the relevance of following God's will as we find in His sacred scriptures. When we think about obedience, we often associate it with the idea of following rules or orders. But there is a deeper dimension to this when we talk about faith. It's about trusting divine wisdom and acting in accordance with what we believe is God's will for us. In the tradition of many religions, we find stories and teachings that illustrate the importance of obeying divine guidance. This not only demonstrates our devotion, but also our understanding that God guides us for our own good and the good of others. Therefore, reflection on obedience is not limited to just following rules, but to an act of faith and trust in divine guidance, recognizing that He will lead us along the best path possible. The story of Abraham is an ancient story that resonates through the centuries, transmitting lessons of faith and obedience. It revolves around a pivotal moment where Abraham faces an unparalleled test of faith, the sacrifice of his son, Isaac. At this critical moment, Abraham's willingness to obey a divine call, even without fully understanding the purpose behind it, is the heart of the narrative. His readiness to move forward, trusting in God's will, illustrates a deep devotion and surrender. It is a captivating example of how faith can overcome all adversity, even when the path seems dark and challenging. Reflecting on the blessings that come from obedience to God is like an inexhaustible source of inspiration and learning. A narrative that spans the ages and resonates in hearts thirsty for meaning and purpose. At the center of this theme, we find the captivating story of Abraham, a man whose journey of faith and submission is a beacon of light for all who seek to understand the mysteries of divine will. As we contemplate the blessings of obedience, we are led to delve into the depths of Abraham's experience. He not only listened to God's voice, but also had the courage to act accordingly, even when divine instructions seemed to defy human logic. In his obedience, Abraham not only demonstrated his devotion, but also opened the floodgates to an unprecedented flood of blessings. The promise of multiplication of his descendants is one of the pillars of this narrative. Abraham was given the assurance that his lineage would become vast and numerous, a promise that transcended the limitations of time and circumstance. Isaac's birth was just the beginning of a saga that spanned centuries, a lineage that flourished and spread like the stars in the sky as promised. Furthermore, Abraham's obedience also triggered a series of victories over adversity. In moments of trial and challenge, his unshakable faith and willingness to trust in divine will were rewarded with unexpected triumphs. The story of Abraham reminds us that obedience is not just an act of conformity, but a posture of the heart that aligns us with God's eternal purpose. It is essential to recognize the repercussions of disobedience, as they can manifest themselves in diverse and painful ways in our lives. When we choose to ignore guidance or deviate from the suggested course, we risk facing consequences that could have been avoided. Impulsively following our own path may seem liberating initially, but it often results in painful and challenging experiences. It's as if we are launching ourselves into an unknown maze, where each wrong step leads us to a new affliction. Therefore, it is crucial to consider our actions and decisions, understanding that disobedience does not always lead us to the desired destination, but rather to a territory of difficulties and regrets. In a world where uncertainty seems to be the only constant, We are challenged to anchor our lives in something bigger than ourselves. This exhortation to obedience and trust reaches us like a vibrant call in the midst of chaos, inviting us to dive into the depths of faith even when the horizon seems blurred and distant. It's like an awakening to a deeper and more dynamic spiritual journey, where each step is an opportunity to connect with the divine wisdom that guides our paths. It's not just about passively accepting what we don't understand. It's about fervently embracing the promise that there is a greater purpose at play, even when our eyes can't see beyond the veil of uncertainty. In this invitation to obedience, we find not just a call to follow rules, but rather an opportunity to become co-creators of our destinies, aligning our wills with the will of the divine. It is an invitation to dance in the symphony of life, trusting that each note, even the most dissonant ones, contributes to the final harmony. And as we surrender to this journey of trust, we are reminded of the importance of prayer and meditation as tools to connect more deeply with the source of all life. It is through these moments of communion that we find the strength to keep moving forward, even when the path ahead seems steep and challenging. So let this exhortation not be just another voice in the crowd, but rather an echo that resonates in our hearts, reminding us that even in the most violent storms, we can find safety and peace by trusting in the divine that dwells within us. This message resonates as a vibrant call amid the chaos of the modern world, the importance of moving forward with faith and obedience, and the unparalleled joy that comes from aligning our lives with divine will. It is as if it were an invitation to an exciting journey, where each step brings us closer to spiritual plenitude. Following God's plans is not just a matter of duty, but an adventure full of emotions and discoveries. It is as if we are sailing in uncharted waters, trusting divine guidance to guide us through the storms and calm seas. In a world that often distracts us with its fleeting promises of success and fame, it's easy to lose sight of what really matters. However, it is in surrender to God's will that we find true freedom and joy. It's as if we are discovering a hidden treasure, a source of contentment that transcends material riches. Therefore, may we enthusiastically embrace the call to follow with faith and obedience, facing each challenge with courage and determination. May we find joy not only in worldly triumphs, but also in the spiritual journey of surrendering to God's designs. And that even in times of difficulty, we can remember that we are always surrounded by divine love and grace, ready to sustain us in our darkest hours.